Tonight is the 2nd of June, Monday night at 9:51 p.m. We're going to get a couple of 30-second exposures of a galaxy NGC 5297. It's pretty far north as it cultivates on the screen. I'm going to give you some data, and then we're going to probably drop down to 10-second exposures because I want to cover a group of NGC galaxies that are pretty much oriented north-south and within about 5 degrees of the sky of each other. So go ahead and watch this one develop. I'm hoping to keep this video down to about 20 minutes tonight because I have about 20 galaxies to cover. A couple of them may be too far north. What we're seeing here is NGC 5297, a galaxy in Canada's Venetici, magnitude 11.8, 5.7 by 1 arc minutes, so it's almost a 6-to-1 edge-on galaxy. Spiral with a bar and lowercase c. Pretty bright core for a lowercase c. 114 million light years distant puts this at about 170,000 to 180,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 13 hours, 46 minutes, 23 seconds with a declination of plus 43 degrees, 52 minutes and 20 seconds. We're not getting any blockage, even though we're pretty far north by the roof dry. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of zoomage on this one, and then I am going to reduce it to 10-second exposures. That's a pretty fine view. Unfortunately, we're getting doubling of stars, which is not good. I'm going to play a little bit with histogram. See what we can do with it. It was pretty nice, actually, the way it started out, so I've only really just basically messed it up. So, a little experiment anyway. Well, I've really mucked it up, and I'm not sure why. Of course, there is a half moon up tonight, so we are filling the sky, but I don't like the doubling of the stars. I guess it was a good experimental start. Let's drop down to that 10-second exposure time for the evening. Well, once again, we're revisiting NGC 5297 with its neighboring galaxy here, that's visible on the screen. Once again, magnitude 11.8, 5.7 by 1 arc minute, spiral with a bar, lowercase c. There's just too much moonlight up tonight for us to do 30-second exposures, and also there was some doubling of the stars, so we're going to stay with 10 seconds as according to my original plan. Let us move forward. All of these galaxies are within, as I said, about 5 degrees of each other east-west, and they probably change by about 20 degrees north-south, and they're in Bootes and Canis Venetici. Here we have another fine galaxy in Canis Venetici. It's NGC 5301 galaxy, magnitude 12.74 by 0.8 arc minutes, so equally a nice maybe 6-to-1 aspect ratio edge-on. Spiral with a bar and a lowercase c. Once again, 3 times removed. The core doesn't seem to be quite as bright on 5301 as on 5297. This galaxy, however, is only 68 million light years distant, which puts it at about 70,000 light years in diameter. We did seem to get a satellite passage or a meteor passage on the screen. I'm going to zoom into 100% and recenter on the screen. Looks like we have pretty good histogram settings. There's a bump in the histogram, which indicates that we are getting a good deal of moonlight. And while I look up our next study, go ahead and let this have several passes. Got a bit of a leap here to our next study. Very nice edge-on galaxy before us now on the screen. Our next study is NGC 5313, another galaxy in Canada's Venetici, magnitude 12, quite small, 1.7 by 1 arc minute. Usually they're larger than 2 arc minutes in size at magnitude 12. Spiral with a lowercase b, meaning it's twice removed from lenticular, but it has well-developed multiple spiral arms as far as they can tell, given the somewhat edgy on presentation. 116 million light years distant puts it at probably around 45,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 13 hours, 49 minutes, 44 seconds with a declination of 39 degrees, 59 minutes, and 5 seconds. let's go ahead after we've gotten several passes and do some zoomage to 100% zoom. Center our study in the screen. Notice no doubling of the stars, so there hasn't been a lot of shifting. We've gotten several nice overlays. And yes, you can see the spiral arms emanating off and then wrapping around to a degree around the core and nucleus and core region of NGC 5313. Thought I'd drop in on an unscheduled view. NGC 5325A is another galaxy in Canis Venetici, but its magnitude 15.1, kind of large, 0.9 by 0.8 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase c, so not much of a nucleus. 150 million light years distant means it's probably somewhere around 45,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 13 hours 50 minutes 54 seconds with a declination of plus 38 degrees 16 minutes and 27 seconds. The galaxy is going to prove to be rather vague until we do our zoomage. Remember, this is a fairly large, almost 1 arc minute size galaxy, so it's going to have a very low average surface brightness. I think we can say we're seeing it right about here, but there's another faint galaxy here and hints of brightening at this point right here. Let's let it settle in as I call up our next study. Moving forward, this is NGC 5325A, magnitude 15.1 with a very faint, probably a 14.5 average surface brightness. And what we'll do is, we can't be sure that 15.1 isn't blue violet, but if indeed it is a class spiral lowercase c, then it's probably somewhere around 14.5 magnitudes in brightness. Okay, that second galaxy there, where there's an A, there's typically a B. Let's give it a chance to develop. This was the brighter galaxy and larger, but there's a smaller, brighter galaxy, probably this one right here. NGC 5325b galaxy, once again in Canis Venetici's, magnitude 16.6 by 0.3 arc minutes, a galaxy with peculiarities. This could be it, or this could be it. I have to do some research. So right ascension 135052, declination plus 38, 1527, and that's about all the time we have available on this one. Okay, here we're getting about a 70x view of a brightish galaxy, NGC 5326 in Canis Venetici, magnitude 11.9, and larger size, what we'd expect in an almost 12th magnitude galaxy, 2.2 by 1.2 arc minutes, spiral with lowercase ab 1.5 times removed from lenticular, 119 million light years distance, so probably somewhere around 55,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension is 13 hours 50 minutes and 50 seconds with a declination of plus 39 degrees 34 minutes and 27 seconds. Let's do a bit of zoomage on this one, and I will center it up, and then let's as it develops a little further, let me go ahead and look for our next study. NGC 5350. Wow, you gotta love this view. Here's a face-on galaxy with an annulus. That is not likely to be our galaxy, because what we're looking for here is an 11.3 magnitude NGC 5350 in Canis Venetici's, 11.3 magnitudes, 3.2 by 2.6, spiral with a bar and a lowercase bc, 2.5 times removed, 111 million light years distant, puts this one at about 100,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 13 hours 53 minutes and 21 seconds, and plus 40 degrees 21 minutes and 48 seconds. But you gotta love this rung galaxy right here, which is probably going to be somewhere around magnitude 13.5. Let's do a little bit of zoom on this and get a better view. Wow, 100% zoom. Several galaxies in the field, the faintest of which is this annulus here. I'm sure Steve Gottlieb will have mentioned all three of these galaxies in his description of NGC 5350. Well, it is quite likely that I was mistaken. This was probably NGC 5350, and this one here, although the aspect ratio is a bit off because it's slightly brighter, is probably NGC 5353. Let me do some zoomage here as I give you some data. 100% zoom. This is a galaxy in Canis Venetici, magnitude 11, 2.8 by 1.9 arc minutes. Ooh, this may very well be 5353 because it's classified a lenticular spiral, and this is obviously not. 106 million light years distant, probably 75,000 light years in diameter. Very bright star nearby. Another great view of this rung galaxy, fainter rung galaxy here. And perhaps this one itself will also turn up as part of my list for this evening. Well, we do have it. This galaxy here, the more edge-on one, although it's not classified edge-on. 5354. This is very peculiar, which figuring out which of these galaxies are which. But NGC 5354, one of these three galaxies, is a magnitude 11.4, 2.2 by 2 arc minutes lenticular spiral, 117 million light years distant. Now, we do know the Sombrero galaxy is a lenticular, so it's entirely possible this edge-on galaxy here is very similar. But typically, this kind of a presentation is not necessarily lenticular. We're at right ascension 13 hours, 53 minutes, 26 seconds with a declination of plus 40 degrees, 18 minutes, 08 seconds. One final zoom in on this. And yes, I would probably agree. 5354. I believe this is 5353, and quite possibly this was 5350. Very exciting region of sky. Look for it in an eyepiece near you. Our next galactic study is NGC 5351, Canis Veneticis. No, it's not part of the other group, as you can tell. Magnitude 12.1, 2.9 by 1.6 arc minute spiral with a bar and lowercase b, and an annulus run galaxy. At right ascension 13, 53, 27, declination plus 37 degrees, 54 minutes, 51 seconds. Let's add some zoomage. And yes, there are hints that the spiral arms circle this very galaxy, and it does seem to have a more condensed but smaller neighbor in the direction of the east. And I believe this is the north from looking at the moon earlier. Some nice views there. I do like those rung spiral galaxies. We're now on to NGC 5380. It's probably that very bright, small fuzzy there in the middle. Go up to 100%. Yes, it does look pretty much like either an elliptical or a face-on. I'll give you the data on this. NGC 5380 is a galaxy in Canis Venetici, magnitude 12.3, face-on 1.9 by 1.9 arc minutes, archetypical spiral with a lowercase a. 144 million light years distant, puts it at about 75,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 13 hours, 56 minutes, 56 seconds, at a declination of plus 37 degrees, 36 minutes, and 35 seconds. And frankly, I want to push this one a little bit further. Let's really ring it out here in magnification just to get a sense. 400%, which is going to be somewhere around 500 to 600x. There is our view. Right before us now, we should be seeing a faint galaxy, although it's actually quite bright magnitudinally, but at this 70x, not quite present on the screen. NGC 5383 is a galaxy in Canis Venetici, magnitude 11.4, 2.6 by 2.2 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, a lowercase b. 112 million light years distant, puts it about 75,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 13 hours, 57 minutes, 4 seconds, with a declination of plus 41 degrees, 50 minutes and 45 seconds. We are looking, as in most galaxies in Canis Venetici, to the darkest part of the sky. It's hard for me to believe that either of these three galaxies that we're seeing here, plus this fainter one, is our NGC 5383. This looks kind of like a star. This might very well be our galaxy, but none of them are particularly large. I am having a difficulty basically making out this particular galaxy on the screen. Good luck to you. Here we have a fairly obvious galaxy, almost vertical east-west in the middle of the field. It's NGC 5362. I'm going to do my zoomy thing. It's a galaxy in Canada's Venetici. Looking at it, it has a star-like core, so it's probably not a very evolved galaxy, but we'll have a look at the morphological rating. We're going to push it up to 100%. The galaxy's present. Oh, yeah, the core region's coming out a bit stronger now. 5362 is a magnitude 12.2 at 2.2 by 1 arc minutes. So a spiral with a lowercase b. Get that pointer off the galaxy, please. Thank you. 98 million light years distant means it's pretty small, maybe 40,000 light years in diameter, with a right ascension of 13 hours, 54 minutes, 53 seconds, and a declination of plus 41 degrees, 18 minutes, and 49 seconds. Sorry, I got this a little bit out of sequence, but I didn't really write them all down in order. I'm having to eyeball parse them before presenting them this evening. What we're vaguely seeing here is NGC 5394, which should have a nearby neighbor, and we'll make sure about that in a moment. Let me do zooming into 100%. I would say that this is probably NGC 5394 here. It's a magnitude 13 galaxy, 1.7 by 0.8 arc minutes. Spiral with a bar, lowercase b, but with some peculiarities, and those peculiarities may be induced by its neighbor. The galaxy is 159 million light years distant, so probably about 70,000 light years in diameter, with a right ascension of 13 hours, 58 minutes, 33 seconds, and a declination of plus 37 degrees, 27 minutes, and 13 seconds. Let me go ahead and plug in NGC 5394, and we'll see that it is probably this galaxy over here, which is probably far more distended, although this has got like a 2-to-1 aspect ratio itself. I would assume this is our NGC 5395, galaxy in Canada's Venetici, magnitude 11.4, 2.7 by 1.3 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase bc, 159 million light years distant. Puts this about the size of our own galaxy, maybe 90,000 light years in diameter. With a right ascension of 13 hours, 58 minutes, 38 seconds, and a declination of 37 degrees, 25 minutes, 29 seconds. We're in the sky's middle third all this evening, and that's probably why we're getting such nice views of these 11th, 12th, and 13th magnitude galaxies. Okay, we're on to NGC 5347. That means basically falling back to our earlier series of galaxies, but that's just, oh, what is that craziness? Okay, got to be careful with your pointer in Windows because it likes popping up stuff, especially ads. Anyway, NGC 5347 is a galaxy in Canis Venetici, again, magnitude 12.6, 1.6 by 1.3 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, lowercase bc, 104 million light years distant, so about 50,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 13:53:17, declination plus 33 degrees, 29 minutes, 26 seconds. And that's our view by regressing it back deeper into the 5300 NGC catalog series. Okay, our last planned view of the evening is NGC 5444. It's galaxy in Canis Venetici, magnitude 11.9, 2.5 by 2 arc minutes, elliptical class 1, so our first elliptical of the evening. 184 million light years distant, puts it about 100,000 light years in diameter. It's, right ascension, 14 hours now, 3 minutes, 24 seconds, with a declination of plus 35 degrees, 7 minutes, 54 seconds. And with this, we're running up on 20 minutes. I'm going to have to see if I can turn up something that we can exit out on for this evening, roughly at 10:30 o'clock on a Monday night. Well, ladies and gentlemen, fellow astrobuds, this is our last view of the evening. This is Messier 84. This is a 10-second exposure. It's probably about 30 degrees from the half moon. We're not getting the best view. We're getting a wash in moonlight. I can play with the histogram slightly and see if we can't improve it, but it's being rather pixelated, isn't it? All right, I'm going to push the histogram right off, right controller off to the right, see if I can get rid of some of this stuff. Not a particularly spectacular view. F84 is a galaxy in Virgo at magnitude 9.1, 6.7 by 6 arc minutes, 60 million light years distant. It's about the size of our own Milky Way, 190,000 light years across. Right ascension, 12 hours, 25 minutes, 3 seconds, with a declination of plus 12 degrees, 53 minutes and 11 seconds. Not a particularly fetching view. Let's go ahead and drop back down to our lowest magnification, as I say, carpe